It's 6 o'clock on Saturday, the 14th of December 2019. Good evening and thank you for tuning in to the English edition of Ora News. My name is Oliver, bringing you the only daily update of the local Albanian news translated into English. Investigations into the buildings that collapsed after the November 26 earthquake in Durrës, which left 24 people dead, were followed by the arrest of 9 individuals who are now being charged with murder and abuse of duty. Former mortgage director and Aloisni inspectors have been noticed on the police list, in addition to other builders. However, 2 hotel owners have managed to escape police forces. Arben and Deshira Chato of the Palm Hotel have now been declared wanted. They allowed the construction of several additional floors to their building in violation of the permit granted to their facility. As a result of the earthquake, the building collapsed and even the owner's own father lost his life. Artur Tereziu, the owner of Bar on Bar, was also declared wanted. He is accused of interfering with the structure of the facility in Durrës. According to experts, due to changes made to the interior walls of the structure, the building could not withstand the earthquake, resulting in its collapse. 2 people died as a consequence of their actions. Former director of Aloisni, Flamur Juzi, and former director of the Durrës Urban Construction Inspectorate, along with Aldo Dacovelli, the chief of the Durrës Cadastre, also escaped police custody. But while the first bans are set in Durrës, investigations continue in Tirana. Meanwhile, in Thumana, more than 40 people were also questioned, but there is still no conclusion in the report on the collapse of the dwellings where 24 people lost their lives. Penal defense lawyers demand that the amnesty plan for inmates scheduled for late December to be comprehensive and not just to focus on women, infants, and the elderly. According to lawyer Samir Visha, amnesty, which is expected to be restored over the next 3 years, should help reduce prison overcrowding. According to lawyers, amnesty should also include individuals who have not been sentenced over the past 2 years, so that prisons can provide space for Albanians serving sentences abroad in the case of extradition. During the Gold Platoon 2019 event, where lawyers were rated as among the best performing, issues such as work safety or the roles in justice reform were highlighted. With the title of Gold Platoon, 4 penal lawyers were awarded nationwide. Expert groups in the field of seismology will pass along all the data they collected from the November 26 earthquake to a designated form that will be found online. The presentation was made by the Minister for Emergency Situations, Blendi Chuchi, according to whom the data collected will be used to facilitate the work in the assessment of damages. The work that has been carried out to address the damages caused by the November 26 earthquake still remains an ongoing process aimed at verifying and assessing the damage to buildings and dwellings within the perimeter of the areas affected by the recent natural disaster. As we have stated before, we have organized the damage assessment process into 2 stages, both in accordance with international standard practices. In the first phase, also the initial assessment immediately after the unfortunate tremor in the period spanning from November 27th to December 7th, we made an initial assessment of the damages to buildings. This assessment was aimed at identifying buildings and residences that present a risk, which should be demolished or declared temporarily uninhabitable, with the primary aim of ensuring the safety of the residents. To this end, the data on damage assessment in buildings at this stage is being administered through a standardized form prepared on models of the European Union, the World Bank, and the United Nations, where data collection and processing is done in real time electronically. As we have informed earlier, over 100 inspection groups have verified earthquake-damaged housing in Durrës, Tirana, and Leja. And within these groups, we have engaged about 300 engineers, including foreign experts and contractors. In the meantime, here we have the Albania Development Fund and Verification Group, which has 9 groups on the ground and has been tasked with assessing the damage at Unit Number 5 in Durrës, which has 7,580 facilities, of which about 2,000 buildings have so far been assessed. Each verification team, like our group, consists of at least 2 engineers, informed Chuchi. Chuchi urged residents to exercise patience as they proceed with the necessary assessments. The damage assessment process has already entered its second phase and is in preparation for the final report. According to a new study, Albanians are the people of Europe with the lowest incomes. According to Eurostat data, Albania is 30% below the EU average for 2018. Meanwhile, improvements in wages, if compared to 2017, is very small, only 1% more. Also, in terms of consumption, Albania ranks last in Europe. At the same time, countries with the highest per capita income and consumption are Montenegro, followed by Serbia and Macedonia. Countries of the region have a significant income gap when compared to European Union countries. Nevertheless, this level of income and consumption remains modest in recent years. International financial institutions estimate that Albania, along with other countries in the region, may take over 80 years to reach the level of economic development of the European Union countries. Many families in Albania continue to live only by remittances. According to the data of the Bank of Albania during the period of July to September, the country received 185 million euros worth of remittances. If we compare it to a year ago, this level has increased by about 8%. Furthermore, many northern Albanian households still primarily live on the incomes provided by immigrants. The Albanian Association of Consulting Engineers urges the government to equip inspection groups with laboratory equipment for field construction tests. Following the damages caused by the November 26 earthquake, the Society of Engineers notes that there is no standard methodology for assessing the sustainability of housing and therefore requires the adoption of a unified protocol. We require the establishment of a working group to harmonize and unify the analysis of factors that have adversely affected the sustainability of housing, requesting the Albanian government to enable the equipping of the working groups with laboratory equipment for field tests, without which we cannot make an assessment reliable or scientific, said the engineers. The Secretary General of the Association of Engineers, Gazim Becai, says that after the meeting with his team, the work will start with public institutions. The working group will then be on all of these facilities that are the most important, but I think we should start with those that are of particular importance, such as schools and kindergartens. About 90% of the damage has come from a lack of engineering discipline in both design and implementation. The Society of Engineers notes that assessing the nature of damage and its distribution in areas where the earthquake was most destructive is linked to the lack of engineering discipline and partly due to the poor quality of work. Dozens of Postreba residents have blocked the mid-tower axes over the weekend due to the poor quality of the ongoing road construction. Residents have demanded a reaction from the Shkodra municipality and have urged them not to hand over the completion of the reconstruction project. Otherwise, the protest will escalate. Only a few days after the asphalt layer was laid in the segment, potholes have formed in the road, indicating that the firm did not abide by any standards and did not respect the established criteria for reconstruction. The Shkodra municipality has indicated that the firm will review the workings only after the scandal is published. This is one of the most flagrant cases of tender abuse by firms in local government, which, according to many, have taken advantage of taxpayer money. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you so much for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join us again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Ora News, thank you and have a good weekend.